Do good work is not a label, but a way of living. It is the constant and diligent effort to achieve a new level of excellence in one's own life. It is the hidden inner beauty behind the struggle to achieve excellence. It's not perfect, but imperfect. It is the effort, discipline, and focus that often goes unnoticed. The goal of Do Good Work is to highlight that drive. The guests I have on this show emulate this drive in their own special way. You'll be able to apply new ideas into your own life by learning from them. We will also have one-on-one episodes with me where we'll dive into my own experience with entrepreneurship and leadership. Every episode is designed to provide you with ideas that you can apply and grow in excellence in all areas of your life, business, and career.
Today on the show, we have Chris Vonlanthen. Chris is the founder of All Out. He's born and raised in Zurich in Switzerland, and he went down a quote-unquote normal career path. He studied economics and worked in marketing, banking, and consulting until he lost his job in February 2020 due to COVID. This was a turning point in his life, and that's when he decided to set out and create his company, All Out, and live a life worth remembering. And he's on a mission to help individuals and organizations unleash their full potential, both mentally and physically. One of the key things that I want to bring to light here with Chris is that he started All Out in a 3-day weekend, starting the company, launching the website, and bringing on 12 individual coaches. So Chris, thanks so much for being on, man.
Hey, Raul. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Chris, I know when we had our first conversation, you kind of delved into your transformation story from, just in this year of 2020, earlier this year with all the change that's going on in the world. I really want to leave it on really want to have you just share your story on, where you're from, what you were doing before, and now what you're doing now in such a short amount of time to inspire our listeners.
Sure, absolutely. So born and raised in Zurich, Switzerland. So for those who are listening, I am not perfect with my English, so I have a little bit of German in there. Fun story, when I speak English, I have a German accent. When I speak German, I have a French accent. And when I speak French, I have an accent of a little bit of everything. So therefore, that's the thing. I'm born and raised in Switzerland, Zurich. Grew up in a very cool situation with having my parents at home, like my dad working, but very good situation. Went on, did an apprenticeship in commerce, kind of the basic thing. Then I went to my studies, studied business and at the university here in Zurich, and actually just went the basic corporate job, things that everybody just tell you to do, like get a good job and you'll be fine, have good grades and have a good salary, whatever. Went into banking, kind of trading, then a little bit of marketing, and then I went into consulting. So basically, I was working in consulting. We did a lot of project for digitalization, stuff like that. And I quickly turned into a sales guy, doing sales and business development until the beginning of this year, actually. And so the fun story is that on the 1st of January of this year, 2020. So for those who are maybe going to listen to that a little bit later on, it's 2020. It's a very, very special year with the pandemic going on, with COVID and everything. So I told myself on January 1st that no matter what happens, 2020, it's going to be my year. It's going to be my best year, no matter what happens. So in February, there were not real sign of the pandemic and Corona and everything. So I went to Bali, went on vacation for 3 weeks, came back, got fired. One day after coming back from vacation, basically out of the blue, lost my job, right? Wow. Got fired because we got a new boss. He came down from Germany and he was like, hey, we can do the thing better than you have been doing it, basically. So lost my job. And then Corona kicked in, right? COVID came along. We had the lockdown in March of this year. So it took me about 1 month in March to really understand what was going on and actually to figure out where I want to go and actually what I want to do. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I told myself on January 1st, it's going to be the best year of my life. So I'm going to make it the best year of my life. I founded a company which is called All Out. So basically, we help people unleash their full potential, both mentally and physically. And we just kickstarted the whole thing during lockdown. So we did a lot of Zoom training. So they were very, very in during lockdown because the gyms were closed and everything. So over the Easter weekend, which were like 3 days, I set up a homepage. I hired a dozen of coaches from high intensity to yoga to Pilates, even meditation. And we run about 15 to 18 Zoom classes a week. Again, high intensity, Zoom, whatever. We had morning classes, lunch classes, evening classes, weekend classes, whatever. And then, of course, when the lockdown got back a little bit here in Switzerland and things reopened, and then Zoom wasn't that cool anymore for a lot of people. So we switched a little bit to boot camps and more of personal trainings. Just for you guys listening to have an overview on that one, I don't really have a background in sports. Like, I have been doing sports my whole life, played tennis, played American football for 3 seasons. Yes, we also play American football here in Switzerland, right? And then went into CrossFit, and I did a little bit of like training. Like, I have the CrossFit level 1 for those who are CrossFitters out there. But next to that, I really have a business background. Like, I do not have the sports background. And now it's just amazing. It's now, when we are recording that, Raul, it's already December. It's actually the 1st. It's December 1st. And we now do boot camp. We now do personal training. We even do some online trainings with private people. And we also do a lot with the corporates. Okay, we do a lot of trainings, especially Zoom online at the moment. And we even gonna start with some companies to work on webinars about work-life harmony, which is another word for work-life balance, which is just a little bit nicer. And, like resilience, burnout, things like that. So basically, now December 1st, 2020, with All Out, we help people unleash their full potential, even in that year. And I didn't have any of that a couple months ago. So that's basically my story.
And that's incredible. So I wanted to pause you earlier, but you did it over a weekend. So I don't want to gloss over the fact that it was a 3-day weekend for Easter weekend. And in those 3 days, you set up the entire website. You hired 12 coaches, not just like 1 or 2, 12 people. You got them onboarded. You set up the infrastructure, and then you went literally like the company name, All Out. And I just wanted to highlight that because I want us to think, like, what are the things that we think that we can't do or that we're blocking ourselves with, and what can we actually do and what's possible? Because, Chris, like, you're like you and me. You're human, flesh and blood. You can do these things. But I want to talk about what are some of the things that you practiced on a daily basis that allowed you to do that? What enabled you to do what others might take a month to do or even a week to do?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you. Thank you for that. As you said, man, I'm not special. Like, in no means. Yes, I did a little bit of studies, went to university, whatever, but I am not special. I am by far not smarter than anybody else. I don't think that my IQ is just super high, like really not. And the thing that you just asked, I think we talked about it last time, and I think it's very important for those people who have never heard about it. I don't want to sponsor anything in here, but if you have never heard of Andy Frisella and what he does with his 75 Hard, go Google it because it's just great. Again, I am not in any relationship with this guy, but he really helped me out. So basically, about a year ago, which was May 2019, I started a program, which is called 75 Hard. So for 75 days, you eat clean, you drink a gallon of water, you do 2 workouts a day, which one of these needs to be outdoor, but you can also just go for a walk if you want to. And then you take a progress picture, and you have to read 10 pages every day. So these 10 pages need to be a book that is for your personal growth. So it can't be like Harry Potter or like 50 Shades of Grey, whatever, right? So it needs to be a personal development book. So, which led to me reading the first book, which was Miracle Morning. Again, for those who have never read it, go check it out on Google. It's called The Miracle Morning. It's amazing. So basically, it tells you how to start the day, right? With exercising, doing affirmation, writing the journal, meditation, visualization. So for almost a year, right, from May last year till March, almost every day, and I did it again now in November. Almost every day, I visualized myself. I visualized my dreams, where I wanted to go, etc. I did the journal. Okay, so I wrote how grateful I am for everything that I have, and then in the evening I wrote down what happened that was very good, but also what I could have done better. I wrote down my affirmation, saying that I am now so thankful for something that will happen somewhere, right? And I truly believe that all of these daily habits really allowed me to just kickstart whatever I kickstarted in March, in April this year over the Easter weekend, right? I really hope. I really think that these were those habits that really helped me, especially things like writing the journal, which also means writing down your goals and visualize yourself being where you want to be, like your dream life, kind of. And beside all of these habits that I just talked about, I think one of the most important things is just, I mean, we're back at it, right? We have one more month, and then it's January again. It's the 1st of January. Everybody will write their goals and everything, and then we all going to do like a gym membership. We will go for 3 days, and then we will not go anymore, right? Write down your goals and really stick to it. Write down your goals for your whole year, and then just break it down to 90-day goals, to monthly goals, and then to weekly goals. And really remember your why. And my why, when I got fired and I started the whole all-out thing, my why was always, look, like I told myself, it's going to be my best year, no matter what happens. And I didn't only got fired, but also like COVID happened.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that if I can tell the audience anything for next year, when you write down what you want to do or who you want to become, don't only write down what you want to do and who you want to become, but also why. Because the why will be the thing that will help you in hard times to really keep going.
It's really powerful, and I want to break down a few things that you just mentioned. The first is, with everything that you just discussed, it can feel a little overwhelming, right? We have to look at monthly, quarterly, annual goals. So I want to talk about how can you make that less overwhelming, but I also want to talk about specifically the power of using our imagination to just think of what if this actually did work? What if this actually did work correctly? And our brains are wired to be able to do that. And that enables us to have maybe less stress, like anxiety moving into something, but also making sure that we look at every single possibility of things that could go wrong so that we, manipulate that or change it for our for our advantage, right? Things that we can control. Obviously, there's external factors that we can't control. And like the last point as well is like you kind of try and like kick the whole adage that it's an overnight success. And you just mentioned it was a year-long's work for a weekend of success. So I think that's really important, that we only see the tip of the iceberg when really there is that daily habit, that pretty much annual planning, the whys behind it, and attaching our emotions to something bigger than the actions that we're actually doing. It's like, why are we doing what we do? Well, putting your emotion behind that triggers energy, and that triggers you to be more excited to give your energy towards that, your mind, your physical, etc. But let's talk a little bit more about like it can feel overwhelming when you have to do all this planning, the daily meditations, daily visualizations. What are some of the tools or routines that help you keep on track even when you don't feel like it? Because I know like there are days that maybe we don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I am a very, very simple guy. I said it before. Like I run best when I put myself accountable, or when I hold myself accountable. All right. Mm-hmm. So I know that people will not see it, but I just want to show it to you, Raul. So that's my little list that I did for November, right? With my 5 things that I want to accomplish every day. And as you can see, like for everything that I accomplish, I have a little box, and I check that every evening, right? So that's like my little being accountable to myself, so that it just feels good to check things, right? It just feels good. We all want to check the things. So basically, this is why we do it daily. This is why I love to check boxes, and that just works for me. Then the other thing that I am training myself day in and day out on it, and I am still struggling with it, because I am no superhuman, right? You thought about overnight success and everything. I don't consider myself being successful yet, right? Mm-hmm. I just built up something. It's running. It's good. We're having fun. We are moving people. We're doing like good stuff. But I don't think that I'm successful by any means, because I have other goals. But the thing that I'm training myself to is just like the little voice in my head when I don't want to do it. It just tells me, do it anyways. It's just like, just do it anyways, right? Yeah. Take a cold shower every morning, right? There are mornings I don't want to do it, right? Do it anyways, because I know I'm going to do it anyways, right? There's no way I'm going to take a warm shower, so I'm going to do it anyway. So just stop like pushing it off or whatever, but just do it like right now, or even try to do it right now. And then the other thing, so that maybe it doesn't feel that overwhelming, is just don't make it feel overwhelming. So
is that simple?
I think so. That's the thing. I think that a lot of things that we think is very complicated, it's not, and it's way simpler than we actually think it is. So let me tell you why. Let's say you want to journal every morning, you want to visualize, you want to meditate, you want to do affirmation, whatever, right? I am not talking about 1 hour, right? I am not talking about 20 minutes meditation. You can do it in 5 minutes, right? Just write down one sentence, what you're grateful for today. Just one sentence. I'm grateful for my health and my strength. That's it, right? Visualize, if you have a meeting today, right? If you have a big meeting with your boss, whatever, you want to speak about your salary, just take 1 minute and visualize the meeting with the end product of you having a salary raise, whatever it is. So I think that my trick to not making it that like overwhelming, it's just start easy. Start with the smallest amount possible, and just start somewhere, right? Just try it.
It starts with actuality. And I know that can be a little bit on the philosophical side with, potential and actuality. But when you start moving and taking action towards something, even if it's a small little action, if it's a small little intention, just having that momentum going and bringing what you are thinking, what you're looking to do, or your goals, bringing it to actuality by actually, physically writing them down, physically messaging people and doing those things in the real world. That's what's going to help the momentum going. And then you're going to realize, well, I thought this was going to be harder, but it's not that hard. Or I didn't want to do this workout in the morning, but I like the benefits that come after, or, me feeling good after a good workout. So remember that one, it's not too hard, but two, there are benefits that come out of it. And I think that can help you get off any state of inaction, which is like to simply call it. But I think it's pretty cool that you make it very simple and very attainable. And just for everyone who's listening to the podcast too, the sheet that you showed, which is simple Excel spreadsheet, right? Yeah. The number of days in the month, and the things you wanted to do every day. And did you do it? Yes or no? So that you can be able to see, okay, I lacked in eating or drinking a gallon every single day. Yeah. Or I lack in specific areas. And that way you can be able to hold yourself accountable, or even give it to someone like a partner or a spouse or someone who can help you keep yourself accountable, a good friend that you text each other every day and just like, hey, keep me accountable to this. And I think that can really help. So those daily habits right now. So you transform the fact that you mentioned that you're not looking at yourself successful yet, but you are on the road of making a larger impact based on the company that you're building for corporate, for personal one-on-ones, for health, for lifestyle living. What are some of the things that you're looking to do when you inspire your team to help the company really accomplish the greater good? How are you communicating with the team so that they know like this is the mission, and that they can both feel inspired, but also empowered to take the right actions every day?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question too. I think that, again, for me, that's Simon Sinek, right? I am not that smart to think about things like that. It's just start with why, right? So to start with why, it's very important, again, for the team, so that they need to know why we do what we do, that we want to help people unleash the full potential. So in the end, what that means is that you have a goal, which is unleashing people's full potential, both mentally and physically. That's the why. So then if your team knows the why, so they know where you're going and they follow you, right? Everything that goes into that path of unleashing people's full potential, the path of your why, they know what to do. Even though if you're not communicating with them on a daily basis, etc., they just know what it is. You can call it a vision, you can call it a mission, whatever it is, right? But the thing is really like knowing your why. And then one thing that I loved, and actually it's by a guy called Tony Hsieh. I think you know him, the founder of Zappos, who unfortunately passed away. I think it was last weekend. And I don't know if you ever read his book, which is called Delivering Happiness. So that's also something that I really believe in. I think that everything that we do, we should just deliver happiness to people, right? In every bootcamp that we have, in every corporate train that we have, it's all about delivering happiness. Yes, we want to make them fit. Yes, we want to help them reach the next level, but it's a lot about delivering happiness. So
how you do it. Yeah,
and how you do it. Because again, we could talk about strategy and how you lead people and lead by example and everything for like 2 hours. But if there are really only two things that I can give the people right there, the audience, people listening to that, it's just like, define your why, talk to the people, make sure their why somehow matches your why. That's very important, because your employees or your people you're leading do not have the same why as you have. At least it needs to match somehow. Then it's not too good. So at least it needs to match. So make sure they know the why, it matches somehow, and then bring something. For me, it's delivering happiness. For others, it will be delivering quality. For others, it's going to be something else. Just define that little thing that just will give your people the motivation and kind of the path to go.
And I love the simplicity of that, but it's also pretty intentional where you're working with every employee that you have. Like, you need to understand who they are, where they're coming from, and what their goals are, which does take, from a leadership standpoint, your effort to get to know them and also to build a real relationship and be able to connect and bridge the gap between their personal goals, their career goals, their why to the organizational goals. And I think it's really wise because it's simple, but it does require effort and a lot of work in order to be able to, make sure that employee, that person, that leader who is ever working with you in the company is able to use their best skill sets for the overall goal and the mission of the organization. I think that's really, truly powerful. Well, Chris, for our listeners out there, what's the best place for people to thank you for this episode and learn a little bit more about you and All Out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're going to link it afterwards. So just check my Instagram profile. I think both the one of All Out and myself, which is Chris Vonlanthen, and also check out my LinkedIn and the homepage, which is www.allout.ch, right? We're going to link everything. And just if you have any question, if you want to reach out, please just reach out. We can do a lot of things also internationally, right? So we can do cooperations, we can do everything. So if you have any idea, or if you think there is anything that we or I can do for you, please do not hesitate to just reach out. I'm happy to talk with you. I'm happy to help you wherever we can.
I love that, Chris. We'll put those links in the show notes as well. And Chris, thanks again, man.
Raul, thank you so much for having me.